The Porsche 911 Turbo, the perfect car for dudes who wear sweaters around their shoulders.
Hey!
Oh, sorry, I'm generalizing. The perfect car for dudes who wear sweaters around their shoulders, and for Jerry Seinfeld.
What's the deal with wearing sweaters on only your shoulders? And don't get me started on the sweater vest. Well, my midsection is cold, but the rest of me needs to breathe.
What's the deal with all the 18 plus LEGO sets coming out this year? They're too expensive! Did you know Jerry Seinfeld liked Porsches? Both the character and the actual human being. And I like Jerry Seinfeld, both the character and the actual human being. And I like to think that Jerry Seinfeld would have liked this new LEGO set. This is the all-new LEGO Creator Porsche 911. This set just came out in March 2021, contains 1,458 pieces, costs $150, and is yet another of these kind of expensive, very nice 18 plus LEGO sets. Can I be honest with you? I wasn't planning on buying this LEGO set. I like cars, I like supercars. I'm not actually a huge fan of Porsches. No offense, nothing against them, they've just never really appealed to me, and I wasn't planning on buying this set. I saw it come, I was planning on passing it by, and I was like, okay, fine. And then LEGO came out with that Amelia Earhart promo set, which you needed to spend $100 for, and I was like, okay, maybe that new LEGO Porsche is looking pretty appealing. My initial impression of this set, it's beautiful, and I love it, and I will proudly display it, even though, like I said, I don't even like Porsches that much. Now, I recognize that for some of you European viewers or just non-American viewers, you might say Porsche. I personally say Porsche, like front porch, like I like to sit out on my front porch in my rocking chair, not my Porsche in my rocking-a-chaira. The rocking-a-chaira. That sounds like the next car from Lamborghini. New to complement the Cian and the Centenario, introducing the all-new Lamborghini Rocking-a-Chaira. But allow me to give you my full impressions on this set and tell you why I like it so much right after we build it. What's the deal with people saying mean things about the new LEGO Porsche? What's not to like about it? Nothing! Nothing! Will there be more bad Seinfeld impressions throughout this video? I'm not gonna say yes, but I'm also not gonna say no. The build for this set, it was a beauty and it was a blur. It went by rather quickly, especially for a set that was over 1,400 pieces. If you've built other large-scale LEGO vehicles, this set would feel familiar, at least in some respects. It's got a rather sturdy Technic base with some cool steering wheel elements going on, so there is some movability, some mechanics built into this set, but then the shell of this set and the whole outer bit of this car, well, that is obviously going to be an entirely unique experience. And building this beautiful interior of the car and then piecing together the whole exterior and seeing how all of the curves come together and how all of these smooth LEGO pieces are built in such a way that builds the iconic Porsche curves and yet is still made out of a bunch of tiny pieces, it is, don't want to use hyperbole here, it is a masterpiece. Again, coming from someone who doesn't even like Porsches that much, I can really appreciate a beautiful build when I see and build one, and this build was beautiful. Then, of course, you get to the choice of building the Turbo versus the Targa version of this car, and wow, that was a thing which we'll talk about more in a second, but in the end, all you need to know is that this build was a lot of fun, the build in the end is big and beautiful, and that's all I have to say about that. The Porsche 911 has a long and storied history, none of which I'm going to get into right now because, like I said earlier, I don't even care that much for Porsches as cars. But I think as a LEGO set, this is one of those rare examples that will appeal to folks who aren't even fans of LEGO. People like you and me, well, we're probably gonna buy nice, big, expensive 18 plus LEGO sets pretty much regardless at this point. But others out there, they might just happen to be walking by a LEGO store in the mall and be like, is that a Porsche? I like Porsches. I wear sweaters around my shoulders and sunglasses when I'm indoors. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm kind of stereotyping here. But they might walk by a LEGO store and be like, I kind of want to build that new big Porsche set. Only $150? I drive a Porsche. I'm expensive and important. I can afford that set. And then maybe they might bring this home. It's not too big. It would look really nice displayed on a shelf. I think that is what LEGO might be going for with sets like this. They will appeal to a lot of people who aren't necessarily LEGO fans. But as a LEGO fan, this Porsche makes me regret not having gotten a bunch of the other medium to large scale vehicles because this set is just so nice, and like I said, it was so much fun to build. Slight tangent here. I learned a little while ago that when you're following franchises and fandoms, you shouldn't necessarily follow the franchise itself, but maybe the creators or the writers of said franchise, and that's where you'll really find the things that you like. And I think that's kind of becoming the same thing with LEGO, and I'm talking about the designer of this set. This set was designed by Mike Siaki. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, and I apologize for that, but he is a LEGO designer whose name is obviously recognizable, and he made this set. He made like the Saturn V, which is up on my shelves. He made the Ford Mustang, the Aston Martin DB5, a bunch of other cool LEGO sets that have come out recently, and I'm thinking a lot along those following the franchise lines. Instead, I think we should follow certain creators, and honestly, at this point, anything that dude makes, I want to build. Obviously, I'm sure he worked with a whole team of other talented designers and graphic artists and all kinds of things, but I'm saying like the main designer is someone, in my opinion, who is definitely worth following. Now, you may be out there right now currently screaming at your monitor saying, but Josh, why do you like this set so much? Well, allow me to not answer your question by doing another pretty bad Jerry Seinfeld impression. It's a beautiful Porsche, what's not to like? Sorry, here are some actual reasons. Well, it has all of those things that we have come to expect at this point from a mid-scale LEGO vehicle. It's got some actual steering when you turn the steering wheel, which is great. Like I said earlier, that is built using some Technic elements that are under the hood, pun intended, I guess. It's got opening and closing doors, trunk, and boot. I don't know which is the trunk and which is the boot on a Porsche because it is a rear-engine car and I'm not Canadian, so I couldn't tell you what that is all about. So both doors open, the front hood opens, the rear hood opens, the car obviously rolls on its wheels, and overall just looks really great and obviously captures that essence of what makes a Porsche a Porsche. And then we look past those givens for a LEGO car at this scale and we can look at the things that kind of set it apart. You can almost smell the leather interior on this car. I just love the way that the seats are done on the inside. You can't even see the back seat in this car, but it also looks like a big comfortable couch, which is true to the 911 as far as I've heard. Other interior elements, you've got that awesome kind of suede, beige, beautiful brown dashboard. You've got an e-brake in the middle there, a shifting knob there. Again, like I said, the steering wheel actually drives the front tires. And then you look down the profile of this car, the side of this car, and you go, yeah, it looks like a Porsche, but you have to really appreciate like all the mechanics and the cool build techniques that it took to get the exact curves to really make that distinct Porsche shape. And when you really zoom in, it's not like one big quarter panel or one big door piece. It is a whole bunch of individual white Lego pieces that are all just fit together in such a way that just, I don't know, there's just a precision there that's just, it's nothing short of beautiful. And then when you're about 7/10 through this entire build, LEGO makes you make a very difficult decision. They make you decide between Turbo and Targa. What's the deal with making hard decisions, LEGO? What's going on? So with this set, you can choose to build either the Turbo or the Targa version of this 911. And like I said earlier, I'm not that big a fan of 911, so I couldn't have told you the difference between those two variations of this same car. But after having looked at the different decisions that I had to make, I became quite familiar. At the surface level, it seems like you're just deciding between a convertible and a not convertible version. In the end, I actually went with the turbo version just because it has this spoiler going on, which to me is a slightly more distinct Porsche shape. There are other minor variations here. The Targa has silver rims, it obviously doesn't have that spoiler, and something I really like is that the LEGO designers went so far as to make the engine compartment actually have differences in these two versions of the car. Now, I only built the turbo version, so I can only make some assumptions here, but I think the turbo version has a turbo in there. I'm not really a car guy, I'm more of a LEGO guy, but I think at least some component under that engine compartment is a turbo charger or something. There's also like slightly more flared panels around the back tires, which I just like that look of the car overall, and so those factors kind of made me decide that I would go with turbo, not Targa. I may build the Targa someday, but honestly, I like this version of the car. And if you really wanted this to be a convertible, you can kind of just pop this roof off. It doesn't look perfect, but it still lets you take a look at that beautiful interior and, I don't know, kind of gives you the same appeal as the Targa while still retaining some of those turbo qualities. The one thing I don't like about the turbo version of this set is that in the Targa version you get yellow license plates, and I don't care about that in and of itself, but those license plates have a reference to Mike Siaki, who, like I said earlier, is the designer of this set, and it would have been cool to have those plates on this car. Instead, you get this kind of more like long and thin, I guess it's a European style license plate. I'm here in the great state of Texas in the great country of the United States of America. That was a little stereotypical. I apologize. So in summation, I think this is a beautiful LEGO set. I'm not very good at Seinfeld impressions, and I think this set would appeal to anyone who is a fan of Porsches or a fan of large, big, kind of complicated, mid-range, kind of costly LEGO sets, and if you're not a fan of any of those things, well, what are you doing here? In the end, I would absolutely recommend this set to a friend or colleague. I wouldn't necessarily say that kids would like this set, but honestly, my kids are like, hey, car, cool, I like it. It doesn't have minifigures, it doesn't have play features, but it's an 18 plus set, so, I mean, what you see is what you get, and I think what we get is kind of what we expect to get, and that is a very nice displayable vehicle. But let me know what you all think about this new LEGO Porsche LEGO set. Let me know if you pronounce it Porsche or Porsche. Let me know what you think about the 18 plus LEGO set line as a whole. We've got this set, we've got a new space shuttle coming out soon, we've got a couple more Star Wars helmets that LEGO just officially announced after Walmart kind of leaked those sets. Let me know what you think about anything in the comments down below. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends, especially your friends who like Seinfeld. Actually, on second thought, maybe don't tell your friends who like Seinfeld because they'll be like, that guy does a terrible Seinfeld impression. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.